All right, good afternoon, everyone. Those on the East Coast and on Central Time, good afternoon. And of course, anyone that is attending from Europe. We're going to start this in just a couple of minutes. We're letting people in right now. So we'll go ahead and get started in just about a minute. We have Eric on the line as well. Eric, can you do an audio check for me real quick, please, bud?
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Gotcha. We'll leave a try.
Okay, thanks, Scott. I appreciate it.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, good afternoon. Thanks to everyone for attending. We had over 100 people register. I think Madison had told me about 120 register for the event and quite a few online. So in the sake of time and for Zoom fatigue, I guess, we're going to go ahead and try to get started. I have just a couple of slides I wanted to run by you real quick for those that are not really familiar with TerraGo necessarily. But quite a few are not existing customers of ours that were on the list. So I wanted to give just a quick overview, a couple of slides of TerraGo and kind of give a background on our relationship with BAE Systems. We're really fortunate to have Eric Hayek on the call with us today from BAE Systems. Eric's down in Tampa, and we've been working together for years and years and years. And we're part of their ecosystem from a business and technology standpoint. We're doing some really good things. We have done some great things in the past, but we're also moving that partnership forward and implementing some more capabilities and functionalities into the SOCET GXP platform. Eric's going to show you a little bit more about the ecosystem that BAE has to offer, and then also show you some of the tools or some of the capabilities that they have out of their platform. And I'm going to pass that across to Eric when it's time and let him do those introductions. So what TerraGo is really known for, we do have two separate lines of our business. We have a GeoPDF side of our business, and then we have an IoT side of our business. We're going to talk about the GeoPDF side of the business today. Even though they're separate sides, they both work hand in hand. So a lot of the people in the IoT side, from supply chain, installation of IoT sensors, maintenance of IoT sensors, work order management, project status, analytics, they're using our technology on the IoT side of the business to help expedite and streamline a lot of those processes. Today, we're going to talk about GeoPDF and our two strategic, technical, and business partners are plugged into the ArcGIS environment, ArcGIS Desktop, and primarily ArcGIS Pro. This is a follow-on to the GeoIn event held a few weeks ago out in Denver, and there was a lot. It was one of the largest attendances, from what I understood from Rhonda, who runs USGIF, one of the largest attendances we've actually had at the GeoIn conference itself. So again, everyone has COVID fatigue and or Zoom fatigue and COVID fatigue too, I guess. So people were able to actually get out and meet face to face and have conversations, real conversations about real problems, and understand if our technology can help them out. It was very crowded, so we wanted to follow up with a webinar just quickly to discuss some of the technology and see if this might be a problem or a capability that can help with your problem set. TerraGo was founded back in 2005. I've been fortunate enough to be here since 2007, so I've seen the company evolve. We got our beginning, it's funny enough, we got our beginning at our point that we are right now. We were helping utility organizations take inventories and understand what assets they had available to them on utility poles, power poles. We were scanning maps And we identified a way to embed the geographic information and geospatial information inside of the PDF file. Applied for a patent, and that was awarded in 2011. So we invented the way that geospatial is encoded inside of a PDF. We do work with Adobe as well from a technology standpoint, and I'll talk about that just briefly in a minute. But the whole premise was to be able to share interactive maps with people who are not geospatial people. I consider myself a pixel nerd by trade. I'm a former Navy intel guy, but a map nerd in general. So with the advent of Google Maps and Google Earth, everybody's becoming more and more, or that type of data is becoming more and more accessible to a number of different people, non-traditional users, if you will. Well, GeoPDF takes that data, makes it available in the free Adobe Reader, no connection required, fully featured, attributed. Obviously the geo's in there, but what we do different than many others is whenever someone needs to make a markup on the map or add a point on a map, they can actually share that data as a KML or a shapefile and bring it back into a system like SOCET GXP, or bring it back into Esri or QGIS or whatever geospatial platform that may be. And it's not just tied specifically to GIS and remote sensing, but the CAD space, if you will, as well, for AutoCAD MicroStation. We do have a very large customer base. We're a small business, but we do have a large customer base and are embedded inside of a lot of large DoD and IC programs. Prefer not to go into those specific organizations, of course, but it's not just domestic, it's also international. So we're very proud of the fact that over 70 countries are using the technology. Hundreds of state and local organizations, etc. The IoT side of the business, again, it addresses all access of the supply chain, from installing IoT devices to maintaining those, doing an inventory. All of that content, as we know, is geospatial. So there is a geospatial component at the core of all of this. We are installed in, I believe it's 8 of the 10 largest utility companies in the United States right now. We're helping them with all of that installation or planning, installation, and maintenance. There's an analytics aspect of it as well. So that side of our business is definitely growing, as is our GeoPDF business. All geographies and all industries, over 2,000 customers. I think I mentioned the 70 countries and all 50 states as well. So that's just a high level overview. Just a history of some of our commercial and federal customers. I didn't want to go into too much detail here, but it's in the energy space. It's in state and local. It's in engineering, public safety. We have relationships with our system integrators, but we also work with our D&I customers as well. So what is the benefit here? I mentioned this off the top, it's fully attributed content from the GIS environment. We're doing some great things with BAE as well with our SDK to help make sure that all of that carries across from a remote sensing environment. We completely leverage PDF. So we do a really good job of compressing content so that it can get through a small pipe, if you will. I did mention our international presence, and sharing of this kind of content is not just inside of one specific country. We're working in a joint environment, and being able to share geospatial content across our allies and with our allies makes a huge difference now. Again, everyone doesn't have access to a GIS system, but everyone does have Adobe Reader or the Adobe Acrobat platform. We want to just deliver some basic geospatial principles, taking measurements quickly and easily, being able to click on a feature and identify attributes, and being able to do some markups, or even right-clicking and going to Google Maps. If you don't have imagery, you just have vector content. So we're trying to pass along some basic geospatial principles or geo principles to the common user, so that they can become more accustomed to using this type of content. That last bullet there is it mitigates RFI requests. Those, if you're not from the DoD, the IC side, Those are requests for information. You get those if you're in utilities, or you get those if you're working in transportation. People in the field that have access to information, they always come back with what is the information, what is associated to this sign, what are the details associated to this bridge or this building, or how many beds are in this hospital. Now with the GeoPDF capability, they can just click on an item individually and access that type of content that comes out of the GIS. So every user has some very basic tools. We're not a GIS company. We are a spatial collaboration company. We just want to make sure that everyone has access to the complex content and the really feature-rich data that you have in your office. That is our goal. To make that happen, we provision a free. That free toolbar is called the GeoPDF Toolbar and is available on our website. All right, so that is distributed in the US DoD. It's really hard to get hard numbers on how many people have. We know how many people have downloaded the GeoPDF Toolbar, but we don't know what happens when they download. So they can pass the installer across to someone else. We know in the DoD and the intelligence community, roughly about 3 million people have the capability installed or available for installation on their laptop or on their PC. Everyone has access to the GeoPDF content. Millions of these GeoPDF products have been created from that litany of programs and organizations that I was talking about earlier that I didn't want to call out specifically. Millions of these products have been created from federal government organizations to tax assessor offices, to departments of transportation, again, utilities, emergency response organizations. So that toolbar is free for download. If you would like to pass or deliver that across your organization, we do ask for an enterprise type agreement. It says enterprise, but it's not expensive. It roughly ranges between $1 and $5 per user to give those users that very basic geospatial principle foundation inside of a free Adobe tool. So we do that just for support purposes. So we know that there is a priority associated to those users. We do have training available online, ad hoc. If you would like to have a quick toolbar, GeoPDF toolbar presentation, some slides, for example, we can help you with all of that to make sure that that's available and your users are trained. Likewise, we can, there are pre-recorded sessions. If you go to the YouTube page, our marketing team's done a really good job there, but we also can come on site. We would come on site. I would recommend coming on site if there were technical issues on creating the product, but the GeoPDF toolbar is so simple, there's no real reason for us to come on site. We can if you want us to, but just let us know what your requirements look like. Just a quick software product review. We released GeoPDF Publisher, which is what I'm going to be showing you today for ArcGIS Pro in October of 2020. So last year we did 4 releases. I believe we've already done 1 or 2 this year. We've done some advanced capabilities as well, doing map series exports. We can export 3D scenes. It's not the same type of product that Eric's going to show you from a 3D GeoPDF perspective, but we can deliver a 3D scene. There are a lot of things we have to keep up with as releases, Adobe releases, making sure that we do bug fixes, enhancements, etc. I mentioned the technical relationship with Adobe. So our GeoPDF Toolbar and GeoPDF Composer is now compatible with a 64-bit version of Adobe. We haven't done a major release announcement for that yet, but it is available. And if you are working in 64-bit Adobe, when you go to download our GeoPDF Toolbar or Composer from an evaluation version or a functional version, you should get a question asking you if you want the 32 or 64-bit. We do have continued support for GXP. As I said, one of the latest things that we're working on right now is embedding metadata inside of the PDF so that GeoPDF product is more searchable and discoverable by an enterprise type application like Explorer, for example. So we work tightly with Eric and his team. They're spread out from California. They're all over the world as well. But so we do have relationships with them and understand your feedback. So if you're a GXP customer and you have feedback, please feel free to reach out to your account manager, or my contact information is going to be on this slide right here. And you received an email from me too, so you should have my contact information. With that, I'm going to go ahead and try to hop right into a quick demonstration here. Excuse me. We are working, I am demonstrating just the capability inside of ArcGIS Pro. So this may or may not be new to some of you, but the TerraGo capability or the TerraGo tools will pop up as a ribbon right here. So all of your standard tools are available in ArcGIS Pro. I'm just going to select on the TerraGo tool. And I have a simple layout here of the Washington, D.C. area. So with that, I'm going to go through just a couple of these buttons to help you understand what is actually going to be available. If you look at the top left-hand side, there's an About dialog. Whenever you do an installation or you are running the evaluation version of our software, you have questions, obviously you can call into our support line or you can email us at support.terragotech.com. But one of the first things they're going to ask you is your version. So that's just a quick way to access that information. All of our help files are also online. So just select the help and it'll take you to this dialog for Publisher for ArcGIS Pro. So you can see its system requirements or exporting the product, setting up preferences, information all across the gamut. So all of that is available for you there. That's in the help file. And to that point, if you want to download an evaluation version of the software, if you go to products from our terragotech.com website, there is the GeoPDF file, and this is the publisher. So that will take you directly to the product page, and you can download an evaluation version here. And I believe we give you 21 days to evaluate the software, just your name, email address, and organization or phone number, and then we'll go ahead and get you squared away with a temporary license, and you can start kicking the tires and trying to understand what's going on and what kind of capabilities you actually have. There are other products as well from our product portfolio, the Composer product for map books, the toolbar itself. That's where you download the free toolbar. We do have a mobile application, some details on the SDK, and our details about GXP and our plugin to the stock environment, or the GXP environment. Just real quick, here are some preferences. Now you'll notice there's a preferences dialog, but then you have some export options here as well. On the preferences, these are going to be your default preferences. So if I wanted to make my image resolution 600 DPI, for example, I can set that here. I always want to optimize the file size because we don't know what kind of bandwidth somebody's going to have at the end of the day. Compress the vectors, embed all document fonts because every machine doesn't have Esri fonts installed, and then create a layered GeoPDF. And we made these intelligent. The GeoPDF Toolbar is the OGC preferred version. That generally makes the toolbar work in most environments. So select OK, that's just the preferences. Any of these export options would override your preferences from export options and vector options. One of the nice things that was added recently was an ability to add a PDF to the front or add a PDF to the back of your exported GeoPDF. The scenario or use case here is we're not always briefing just off of a map or off of geospatial content. Generally, there's other context that can go before that or after that. Adobe has some tools to do that as well. But if I already know I want to add, I'm going to prepend the presentation that I just had up. Actually, we'll add a different document here. Let's just go. This is just a quick company brief PDF. So I'm going to add that. I can do the same thing with the end of the after the GeoPDF. I'm just going to put that. That's just a little Word document. Now the next thing is all of the layers that you have selected here are going to be available for export. I can turn on or off any of those. If something is not selected, you will not export it. You'll get a layers flyout here that will let you choose what information you want to export into the PDF. If I wanted to add the imagery, which I can go ahead and just drag and drop it over here. Now I can also layer features and labels independently. So I don't recommend doing that because you end up having more layers than the end user would necessarily want to see. And if they have a feature that's open, they probably want to see the label to that feature. So I would leave that off. That way it just groups your layers and your features dependently or together. So that's the easiest way. What we want to do is really configure this so that the end user doesn't have a problem or understanding what it is that we are delivering to them. So I'm just going to save that real quick. I can close out, and then I'm going to select the attribute. So each one of these features that are selected here, all our layers have attributes behind them. I can choose, obviously I can go into the individual buildings and look at the attribute table and decide which attributes I want on or off. A lot of times some of the content is going to be sensitive and you don't want to deliver all of the data to the end user. So they may not need a field ID or a unique ID. They just want to know the name of the hospital, how many beds there are, etc. And again, think that this is also going to mitigate the file size for the PDF. So the fewer features you have in there, the smaller your file size is actually going to be as well. So I would just make sure I embed the information that's going to be relevant to your user. Here I'm going to also export that as a geo package, and I'm going to show you the output here. I've pre-created. I'm going to go ahead and create this again, but I've pre-created another example. But after this exports, I'll pull this up for you as well. Another thing that is different in ArcGIS Pro is the pop-ups. So these are used to be hyperlinks. Now they're pop-ups. So if you actually have pop-ups inside of your features in the attribute table, we'll honor those as well. So in this instance, I have and I'm kind of mitigating or minimizing some of the data that I'm exporting just for the sake of speed. I'm going to go ahead and select export real fast, and it's going to ask me to name the file. So I'm going to just call this DC data, and then I'm going to say webinar. Let's do 31 May 2022 _ and I always put geo on the end of it. That way I know from my structure inside of my Windows Explorer or my archive what is actually a GeoPDF. So I'm going to select save here. It's going to spool that up. It's going to take a couple of minutes because obviously there's a lot of data behind it. I'm going to show you the other product that I did create. I added a piece of some training material as the prepend. If you remember inside of here, this prepend, I added a PowerPoint deck, which was just converted to a PDF. And so now I actually have 60 pages in this PDF, but here is all of the training information. And this could be as simple as a one-sheeter that is in front of your GeoPDF to show your users what they can do with the GeoPDF Toolbar. So now here is my GeoPDF. And you'll notice that I have all of the capabilities Here's all of my coordinate information in the bottom right-hand corner. I have my layers. I can choose to turn on and off data if I want to. I also have access to this GeoPDF toolbar. Now I can go in and actually take measurements directly on the tool, on the file itself. And you see, here are my measurements. So again, it's all about mitigating RFIs that come from the field and making that user kind of self-service, if you will. They're not going to have access to the full capability set that a GXP user would have or an ArcGIS user would have, but now they have access to spatial information and they can do their own things on top of the file. I can select the Identify tool and choose one of these individual features inside of the GeoPDF, and I get access to all of the attributes for that individual building area. This is our nation's capital. Select that, and now it's the capital building. Again, it's manholes, roads, all kinds of other different content. So bridges, hospitals, critical infrastructure. So now that end user just running Adobe tools, free Adobe Reader, or the Adobe Acrobat product has access to a litany of other tool sets. Not only can they just do their identify or select an individual feature and understand what's going on at that building or do measurements, or GeoTrack, you can plug in a GPS unit as well. They can also add their own markups. And you notice when I selected this GeoMark tool, now I can go in and start to add my own stamps. There's an incident, like a bomb threat in a specific area. If I need to draw off a polygon, I can actually draw a polygon around an individual area. And it's not a GIS capability, it's just a simple geospatial capability that everyone needs, or everyone can leverage. I'm sorry, I didn't close that. It's not closed. I've got a little error here. But I can actually export those geomarks as a KML file or as a shape file. So you see here, the lowest common denominator is actually a KML file. So that way anyone can access that data. Let's see here. I go to, sorry. If I go to my data and outputs, let's just leave it in data, call it promote underscore 31. I can export that and then launch my browser. And here is all of that data. Thought I had it. There it is, 31 May 2022. And now it'll launch Google Earth. And again, we're in the DC area. And it's an easy way to share. You see it's only 2 kilobytes as well. So that is the spatial collaboration capability. You need to be able to get content from one location to another, spatially referenced. And now I have information about bomb threat. Really quite easy. And again, you can open up that KML in a number of different platforms. So with that, I am going to pass control. I'm going to stop my sharing and pass control over to Eric. Eric, are you about ready, bud?
Hey, Scott, thanks. I think I am, as long as you can hear me all right.
Yeah, I can hear you fine. You should be able to share.
Okay.
Yep, perfect.
Let's do the entire screen. All right, can you guys see
Yep,
this
I got
GXP ecosystem? Okay.
Yep, I got you. Perfect.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks everybody for joining us. Hopefully everybody had a good long holiday weekend. I'll try not to take too much of your time, but just wanted to kind of highlight the couple different ways that we at the BAE Systems GXP group utilize our partner TerraGo's technology into our ecosystem. So like Scott mentioned, you utilize it most often. You think of it as producing products, and that's the main focus we have here. Initially, it's in SOCET GXP, which is our desktop, kind of our flagship product. It takes geospatial imagery analysis and allows you to output Intel products. And one of the nice things about that is Intel products and GeoPDFs are really advanced products for our end users. They can be easily shared among, depending on bandwidth, because it's a small file size compared to creating kind of traditional TIFFs or native products. So we really like that capability, and we try to make it as easy as possible for users to generate products into the GeoPDF world. So, and I'll show that in a second. Another way we produce products is with our GXP WebView capability, which is a pixel streamer. So it's a lightweight ELT, which is electronic light table, in your web browser, where you can stream imagery into the web browser. You don't have, if you don't have, heavy desktop system like an ArcMap or SOCET GXP, you just want to be able to stream pixels, do quick product, some simple analysis, output GeoPDFs. You can use our GXP WebView to do that. And then finally, out of our ecosystem, kind of the main component is our GXP Explorer, which is a data discovery and dissemination capability. So all of the products that get created, they can be cataloged with Explorer and disseminated out. Customers can find GeoPDFs in there, store GeoPDFs within that, and discover them with a simple web browser on a map. So what I'll try to do here is just show you a quick example of that. Switch over to SOCET GXP. And so real simple product creation with GeoPDF. I've got an image, and I'm going to open up a feature database or geospatial database. Like Scott shows, there's a lot of capability with feature collection. And one of our bread and butters is taking imagery data, geospatial data, and creating simple products very quickly. So put on a template, and as you see under our products tab, we have a GeoPDF section, and it's simply 2 button clicks, either GeoPDF or 3D GeoPDF, because everything inside of the SOCET GXP multiport does have an X, Y, and Z coordinate. And so it can be done in 3D as well. Simple. I'll select GeoPDF and give it a name. And we'll type in, let's see, yeah. This is over room. And just like Scott's doing, it's navigating and creating the GeoPDF, automatically opened up the PDF. And I'm not going to spend a lot of time here, but like Scott showed, the layers come with it. So I can simply turn off, different layers, and you see. Okay, so that's the simplest and the tools we've used for the longest time with TerraGo is just simply creating output products very quickly. One of the other output products we can create is from a 3D window. So I'll open up a 3D window quick, just so you guys get to see what it looks like. And from our products tab in the 3D window, another 3D GeoPDF. So I'll get this one saved up. And it'll start rendering. Takes a little bit longer, obviously, than the original product, but I have one created here just while we wait. As you can see, we've got a 3D product. Don't know how well it's coming through the Zoom, but
Yeah, that's good, Eric.
hopefully see it. So
It is. It is.
all right, good. And then finally we'll run in and I'll show you what our platform, the GXP Explorer platform, how that looks. Just if you created a bunch of GeoPDF products, what do they look like? How do you find them, discover them? So I'll log in. I'll go into my GXP Explorer. Now I just created product over Italy, jump to that location. And then I've got a lot of different content I can search for. We know GeoPDF or documents. In fact, I'll go in and show you, scroll down, the different documents we can actually discover. Let's just look for PDFs. When I hit search, it's going to find me PDFs, so GeoPDFs that are actually of known locations. So we're reading the the geo coordinates behind these PDFs and able to view them. So pick them up here. I've got GeoPDF template here. I've got a couple actions. Really what you'd want to do is probably download or add them to the shopping cart to download later, or FTP it to somebody. You can certainly stream it. Oh, that the 3D rendering is complete from just before. So it doesn't take too long, only a couple minutes, not even.
It'll take a second to render, to get that 3D space.
It's a pretty dense terrain file that I use as a 3-meter terrain file.
Okay.
So
here it comes.
Yeah. And there's the finished product.
Yeah, I think it's also probably relevant in discussing how big elevation content is now these days, and the file sizes are getting larger and larger and larger. Within the tool that we work with BAE, our SDK, we have some very unique ways of making that data a lot smaller. Contiguous areas, we kind of cut down on some of the triangles that are developed, so you don't have to deal with quite as many points. Again, you're looking at Adobe. I venture to say that that's probably about 15 megabytes, Eric, but I'm not sure.
We can take a quick look. Just let's see, 3D. Looks like it's 3D GeoPDF, about 23.
Okay, all right.
So,
yeah, but even getting that much data out, by a traditional method is going to be very difficult. And we have some unique ways. Again, we're still working. This is an ever-evolving relationship and progressing with BAE on how to slice the data up a little bit better and make things more manageable. So we encourage any feedback or requirements that you have. I know there are some BAE folks on the call. If you do have any questions or there's any enhancements, let them know, let us know. We're happy to help and always try to improve it. There are libraries and libraries of 3D data that are sitting on shelves. I know for a fact across the DoD, because they really have a problem delivering data. And so we're really helping democratize that type of content. I know it's a buzzword these days that all data is being democratized, but we're trying to help actually deliver on that content. So hopefully we can help you out. I didn't really see a whole lot of questions here. Let's see. Does
Giving you back.
GeoPDF? Yeah, you got it. Does GeoPDF come standard with Socket GXP, or is it an extended license to Terrago for ArcPro? So the GeoPDF plugin does come. It's OEM. We've been working with BAE for about 14 years, and we delivered that capability. It is in the software. It is an additional cost to buy the plugin. So, and we can help you with whatever kind of pricing information you need, Rebecca. Just get in touch with me directly. I'll be happy to help you out or put you in touch with the person that manages your account for BAE systems. Disaster relief and nonprofits. We can work with you on some pricing for nonprofits. There is a reference to FEMA. We do work directly with FEMA, so it might be a better opportunity to work directly with FEMA and have them fund your license request. That would probably be the best way for you. And I'm sure everyone on the call from FEMA is saying no. But we do work with DHS. And Keith, if you want to get in touch with me directly, again, I'm going to go ahead and throw my my contact information back up here. Just to let you know, the export was complete. I'm going to open this up again real quick. There's the file. This is the one that was just created. That's the company brief. Sorry. So, and then there's the GeoPDF at the bottom. Again, all of the layers are available. The toolbar is all available. Selected.
Don't forget to share your screen, Scott.
Thank you. Thank you. Hold on 1 second. So yeah, here is the GeoPDF that was created, the new GeoPDF that was created. Just a quick company overview, and then the GeoPDF. So all of the layers are available. The GeoPDF toolbar is available as well. Just wanted to throw up my contact information. It's been about 45 minutes. No, I try to keep it 30 to 45. Here's my contact information. If anyone would like to reach out to me directly or would like to, are not familiar with Eric, we can help. I can help facilitate putting you in touch with Eric or anyone over at BAE. Again, we've had a long-standing relationship for 13 to 15 years. So we're happy to help coordinate and collaborate. And with that, we're gonna let you go if that's okay. I don't see any more questions, and we're gonna go ahead and conclude. Thank you very much for your time, and look out for a web recording so you can share with your colleagues. All right, have a good day.
Thanks, Scott. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, you got it, Eric. Thank you, bud. Eric's contact information is in the chat, by the way.
Yeah, I think I sent it to, unfortunately, you, not everybody.
Okay. All right. We'll include it, Eric. Lay out.
All good.
All right. Thanks.